If we're lucky, we get to accomplish most of the things we want to do before we die. But it's hard to imagine that would ever be the case for a 15-year-old boy. Well, tonight we meet the parents of a young man whose life was cut short, but his dreams, they were not. Here's Brad Underwood.
On the soccer field, Nicholas Cordrey's job was to stop the opponent from scoring. But in life, his goal was to put others before himself.
It's kind of amazing to see how many people he touched.
The junior varsity starting keeper wanted to be just like his older brother, who once played goalie. And for the rest of his high school career, Cordrey was to be the varsity starter. But on Memorial Day, something happened.
I started yelling Nicholas's name, and I ran upstairs. And I pounded on the door, and then I just went in.
Cordrey, a perfectly healthy 15-year-old, was unresponsive. He suffered an aneurysm and was taken to Children's Hospital. Hours later, there's a second hemorrhage, and emergency surgery is needed.
After about 4.5, 5 hours, the doctor came out and said that they could not bypass it.
For days, Cordrey had no brain activity. Back at home, his mother, Aimee, would just sit in her son's room.
I would just go in his room, and I would just talk to him and, tell him, he needed to come back. And on his desk, I found his sketchbook.
Inside, a bucket list, an art class project of sorts. The list had 10 dreams.
Number 7 said to save a life. I couldn't believe it, but at the same time I do, because that was Nicholas. Nicholas was very, as Darren said before, he cared about other people.
Cordrey passed away on June 3rd. But in death, he crosses number 7 off that list.
Nicholas may not have been able to change the world, but for at least 5 people, he changed their world. And that's what we'll always have in our heart.
In an instant, 7 of Cordrey's organs saved 5 lives. Dozens more got pieces of him to make life better.
Nick's departure from Earth is terrible. I would give anything to have him back. But that's not going to happen. And so the only way I can get through this is that I have hope in the other lives that he saved.
And in those lives saved, the Cordreys believe Nick will cross the other 9 off that list. In Cleves, Brad Underwood, Local 12 News.
A beautiful but also very emotional story. The Cordrey family in Taylor High School right now are working on a scholarship in Nick's name. That's the second time we've seen it, and it still has that same impact on you.
And those parents are so strong for allowing us to tell their story, and thank you for that.
Yeah, and Brad did a great job telling that story.